I've been mortal enemies with Best Actor Robert Barron. Then, out of nowhere, we got bound to a sweetheart system. If we don't get handsy, we get zapped to stay alive. We've been living a split life, sparring by day, tangled up by night. I figured we could muddle through until the binding lifted, but we crashed and burned on a variety show. While cooking, I blurted out by force of habit, "Hubby, pass the salt." The live chat exploded. Weren't you just warned? Enemies. Cold sweat streamed down my back. I was about to backpedal when Robert Barron handed me the salt, I smiling. "Here you go, wifey." Then he slipped an arm around my waist, leaned in, and murmured, "Where's my reward kiss?" Robert Barron's brain is broken. He and I have never gotten along, not since we were kids. He was always a copycat, laser focused on me. In grade school, I bought a cyclone blaster. He turned around and got a jump blaster, and his was faster. Every time I tried to play, he'd shoulder in, making me look bad. In middle school, I trained hard at basketball, dreaming of being Rukawa. For no reason at all, he picked up a ball too and effortlessly made the school team. In high school, I fell in love for the first time. I finally worked up the nerve to write someone a love letter, didn't even get to deliver it before he swooped in and stole the girl. In college, I went on a talent show and broke into entertainment. I thought, finally, I can get away from him. Singing, dancing, he's a cold fish. An A clam. No way that's his thing. And the result? He snuck off to make films. One art house movie vaulted him to godhood and nabbed him Best New Actor. Then he rocketed straight up and became the youngest Best Actor in history. Status, reputation, he left me a traffic magnet idol eating dust. I hate it. I've honestly wondered if, in a past life, I dug up his ancestors' graves, and that's why he's been chasing me down ever since. Even when I join a variety show, he has to show up and crush me. Worst of all, everyone in the industry knows we don't get along, but they love shoving us together for buzz. Case in point, even walking a red carpet, we have to go side by side. The host, a chaos lover, started fanning the flames. Wow, the most anticipated duo of the night. Welcome Moody and Teacher Robert. He was practically squealing. "Moody Clark, you'll be regulars with Movie King Barron on the show. Slow the pace. Fans are dying to see what kind of sparks you will strike." How do you personally feel about this collaboration? How do I feel? I want to roll my eyes, but the live stream camera was on me. I had to keep my idle composure. So I put on a practice commercial smile and glanced at the impeccably suited Robert. "Oh, getting to work with Teacher Barron. I'm absolutely here to learn." I crinkled my eyes. Sincere as could be. Teacher Barron is the industry's acting benchmark. So many roles, so many hits, especially in night.I, which opened the day before yesterday. Teacher Barron's psychopath was pure perfection. Truly a born talent. The chat was howling. When he started, I thought Moody had turned over a new leaf and was praising Movie King Barron. Turns out he was setting him up. Wow. Key phrase, so many roles and born to play psychos. "Robert, thanks so much." Gritted teeth. The mic moved to Robert's mouth. He smiled like nothing could ruffle him and returned serve in an even tone. "Teacher Clark, flatters me. Speaking of art, I think Teacher Clark's stage work is the real art, especially the improvisation." Positively bursting with energy, the chat ate it up. Improvisation? You mean when Moody forgot his lyrics and started freestyling on the live stream? I'm dying. Remember when that cursed rap took over the meme section of that site? Secondhand embarrassment is back. Looks like Movie King Barron's got the upper hand. Moody's smile is cracking. Upper hand my ass, I hadn't even started. I snorted and fired back at once. "Oh, Teacher Barron does love to joke tilde however bursting I am. I can't compare to your all-out effort in that magazine." Shoot, the chat dissolved again. I know this one. Last time Barron did a magazine shoot, he sat down and busted the prop chair. Then he dropped for 20 push-ups right there to salvage his pride. I'm screaming. It looked like they're complimenting each other, but every line is nailing the other to the pillory of shame. Robert didn't look the least bit ashamed. He kept smiling. "Don't worry, Teacher Clark. I'll also go all out to take care of you during filming." He paused, gaze flicking to my wrist. His tone full of senior warmth and benevolence as he went on. "I'll make sure you stay away from anything too heavy to lift, like, say, trophies." The chat was puzzled. Trophies, is he saying Moody's singing can't win awards? No, last time Moody won a trophy he didn't realize how heavy it was. Almost dropped it. And sprained his wrist. The king is calling him fragile. TSK masters trading blows. If you don't have a devious brain you can't even follow. It's to high level. LMAO. Can these suggest fight? Thanks for the suggestion. I'll take it. I was just about to swing when the host hustled to wrap the interview. Once We left the carpet, my smile snapped off. I turned on my heel to go. I'd barely stepped into the backstage corridor when someone grabbed my wrist. Next thing I knew, I was yanked into a private makeup room. Bang. The door slammed and the lock clicked. Robert pinned me against the wall. One hand braced by my ear. The other gripped my chin, forcing me to tilt up and look at him. The eyes that had been cool and distant on camera were now dark enough to drown in, roiling with something black and almost feral. Damn, he looked like a dog about to bite. I shivered and tried to shove him away, but he twisted my arms up and pressed them over my head. What the hell are you? I didn't finish. Robert's mouth crashed down on mine. His breath was hot and urgent. The kiss was all teeth and conquest, prying my lips apart, tangling my tongue with his, punishing, nipping and grinding little by little. The tiny whimpers got swallowed between our teeth. In the sealed room, there was only our hitched breathing and the indecent slick sound of kisses. I don't know how long it lasted. Just as I was running out of air, Robert finally let me go. I slumped against the door, gulping for breath. My knees were wobbly, my lips were tingling and hot, definitely swollen. I shot him a vicious glare. He didn't look much better, ears faintly red, breathing ragged, his flawless suit rumpled. Those deep eyes seemed brighter than usual, too. I shoved down the weird flutter in my chest, pulled on a mocking smile, and still a little breathless staunted. So into it, so lost. Teacher Barron, don't tell me you've fallen for me for real. Robert's expression slid neatly back to cool indifference. Relax, it's just the system. He paused, gaze lingering for a beat on my reddened mouth, then drawled, a super talented psychopath. I am merely going all out. Me, God, you really do keep score. Won't give an inch. Why didn't I fight him off? Why didn't I slap him? Because, like me, he's been forced into this. Blame the damn sweetheart system. Ever since it latched onto us, our lives have split into black and white. By day I'm the dazzling top-tier idol Moody. He's the aloof, aristocratic best actor Robert. We're the kind of sworn rivals whose every side eye gets fan-analyzed into 800 silent insult frames. But at night, our world collapses. The system forces tasks to start, and we have to behind airtight doors. Usually at my place or his, complete all kinds of scalp-tingling sweet interactions. From basics like stare lovingly for 10 minutes without breaking character, to hug from behind and whisper one line of sweet nothings to say hubby, I love you 10 times a day. And of course some that are more extreme, like last night's French kiss for 3 minutes with audible swallowing, for the record. Both Robert and I cooperate. First, because failing a task means an electric shock. Second, because we want to rack up sweetness points ASAP and unbind the system. As for how it bound us, that was the most absurd thing that's ever happened to me. I remember it vividly, a dark, windy night. Okay, fine, it was just another show day. Robert and I crossed paths backstage at an awards show. Then a ding went off in my skull. Suitable host detected, Moody. High match partner. Detected, Robert. Binding Showbiz's strongest forced couple sweetheart system. Binding complete. Beginner task. Share a friendly 1-minute handshake with Robert. Countdown, 10 minutes. Failure penalty. Intro shock sampler. I was stunned. I figured I was just exhausted and hearing things. So I shot Robert a dirty look and went back to the green room. 10 minutes later, a blast of searing pins and needles ripped through me. I yelped uncontrollably, sprang off the sofa, and collapsed onto the carpet, twitching. So much for idol image. My assistant nearly dropped his coffee in fright. Brother Moody. What happened? Are you seizing? Should I call an ambulance? Me. Honestly, I'd rather have been seizing. Because if I told him the system zapped me, he'd probably check me into psych. I clawed my way upright and was about to claim it was a new dance move when someone knocked. Robert stood in the doorway, face sheet white. He grabbed my hand, looking it over, and asked with genuine concern if I was okay. I frowned and got it instantly. He'd been bound to. That's why he was clutching my hand, using concern as cover to complete the task. I shook him off and shooed my assistant out. Once the door clicked shut, I mopped the sweat from my forehead, squared my shoulders, and looked him in the eye. Robert, I know your secret. He froze, speechless. Don't panic. I'm in the same boat. I won't blab. Maybe we can cooperate. He glanced up, baffled. Cooperate, yeah. Since that forced pair system keeps making us do sweet tasks, teaming up is a win-win, isn't it? Robert pressed his lips together, as if thinking. Was that reluctance? Does this guy hate me that much? I panicked on the spot. I know I disgust you and you disgust me. But we don't have a choice. Holding hands is better than getting shocked, right? At that, Robert's brows eased. You're right. We can cooperate. I relaxed and patted his shoulder approvingly. Now that's more like it. From today on, we're comrades in arms, live and die together. Robert glanced at the spot I'd just patted, pulled on a kindly smile, and looked back at me. Comrade in arms, my new task just dropped. I need to hug you for 3 minutes. The corner of my mouth twitched. Fine. Hug from then on. Robert and I lived a split life. Needle points by day, forced sweetness by night. That rotten system kept issuing Robert tasks that were more embarrassing each time, with plots more dog-blooded by the minute. It loved making us role-play tawdry. Little dramas. I swear, the day I can't dance on stage anymore, I could jump straight into acting because at this point my craft is so honed I can coo hubby at my mortal enemy without gagging. The day after the red carpet, we started filming slow the pace. The production really went all in. They dumped the 6 of us in a pretty, isolated mountain village. Besides this frenemy duo, there was a venerable veteran actor, a variety show natural, a wildly popular starlet, and a rookie named Emma. Sticking to the do-it-yourself, eat well and dress warm philosophy, the crew wanted us fully immersed in farm life. On the first morning, the directors assigned tasks. The veteran and the comedian would clean and feed the chickens, ducks, and geese in the back. Robert and the starlet would gather firewood on the mountain. Emma and I were in charge of transplanting rice seedlings. The chat collectively sighed, lamenting that there be no drama. Me? I was thrilled. Finally free of that plague god Robert Tapp. Last, air untainted by his venom, back-breaking rice work still beat staring at his sour face. Emma and I pulled on the waterproof overalls the show provided and waded into the paddy. Stumbling at first, under a local farmer's guidance we got the hang of it. Emma's bubbly doesn't mind dirt or toil. She'd hum a tune now and then, or chat about little life stories. The vibe was easy and pleasant. Soon we were speeding up. We even started competing. After about an hour our backs were killing us, and our faces were speckled with muddy dots like Dalmatians. We looked at each other and burst out laughing. Moodige, let's take a break. Have some water. Emma flicked the mud off her hands in the water, wiped them clean on a cloth, and handed me a bottle. Thanks. I was thirsty and took a big swig. The sun was strong. I squinted at the stretch of new green shoots before us, oddly satisfied. Didn't expect planting rice to be this exhausting, Emma sighed, and very naturally brushed a clod of mud from my arm. Then she added, but it's kind of fun, right? Moodige. I was about to laugh and agree when, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure on the bund. Robert. He had a bundle of kindling on his back. Sweat darkened the fringe on his forehead. His clothes were a little dirty, but he stood straight as a rod, and his gaze was iced over. Aimed squarely at Emma's hand, the one that had just brushed my arm. The air went tight. Emma saw him too, and hurried a greeting. Teacher Barron, you're back. Was collecting firewood hard. Robert nodded, said it was fine. Then his eyes slid to my face. His tone was unreadable. Looks like Teacher Clark has settled in nicely. Something in me inexplicably fluttered. Then I squared my shoulders. I was tired and taking a perfectly legitimate breather. It's not like I was slacking. I hadn't done a thing wrong. So I pasted on a fake smile and jabbed back. Not bad, but still not as all out as you chopping wood on the mountain, Teacher Barron. His mouth seemed to dip. He went to drop off the kindling, then came back, stepping down from the bund into the field. He hadn't bothered with waterproof overalls. Muddy water soaked his pant legs. And he didn't care at all. He said to Emma, go rest. I'll finish this. Emma flapped both hands in a panic. Oh no, it's fine, Teacher Barron, I'm not tired. Robert acted like he hadn't heard. He just stared at me. Finish your water? If you have, bring those seedlings behind you over. Me. Didn't I say Robert's brain is broken? Playing hero on his own dime, then ordering me around with the cameras rolling. I couldn't cuss him out and tank my gentleman image. So I shoved the bottle to Emma, urged her to rest, and gave Robert a tight smile. How considerate of you, Teacher Barron. I'll go all out and bring the seedlings right over. I stomped exaggeratedly through the muck and turned toward the edge of the field. I didn't have to look back to feel Robert's stare burning into my spine. That dog. Heartless dog. In my head I cursed him 6 ways from Sunday. That's when the system chimed, ding. Detected strong emotional spike in partner jealousy. Urgent task, please soothe your partner immediately. Method, initiate a hug and gently stroke to calm. Time limit, 5 minutes. Success reward, +5 sweetness. Failure penalty, moderate shock. My foot slipped. I nearly face-planted into the paddy. Soothe, hug for 5 minutes. With all these cameras on me, does a straight man's dignity mean nothing anymore? Wait, jealousy? What the hell? Don't tell me Robert likes Emma. No wonder. No wonder his face went granite when she got close to me. Why he cut into our interactions every time. Afraid I'd beat him to the punch, a tangled, sour frustration stuffed my chest worse than losing any of our arguments. But the countdown was ticking away. Fear of the shock steamrolled that stupid, inexplicable funk. As the poet says, face is dear, life is dearer. I gritted my teeth, steeled myself, and on the slick bun deliberately stumbled sideways. Ho! I yelped, body tipping, out of control, directly toward Robert. Fortunately, he's quick on his feet. He lunged and caught me on instinct. I seized the chance to loop my arms around his waist and ran my hands up and down twice. That counts as soothing strokes, right? His body went stiff, his hand at my back clenched. His eyes were darker. Before he could let me go, I ducked my head and muttered, fast, Robert, don't get the wrong idea. There's nothing between me and Emma. I don't like her. You. Don't go getting jealous. Your jealousy only endangers me. I'm not dying to be collateral damage on your little love quest. Sure enough, once he heard I wasn't into Emma, Robert visibly brightened. Even the corners of his mouth were hard to keep down. He managed a belatedly stern Once I'd realized Robert might like Emma, I started avoiding her like a minefield casually, without making it obvious. Paired tasks, if I could avoid being teamed with her, I did. Group activities. I tried not to stand next to her. Even at meals, I'd sit by the veteran or the comedian, just to keep from facing her. Sometimes, watching Emma move so cleanly and capably, I couldn't help thinking, what exactly does Robert like about her? That sweet, gentle face. That bright, sunny personality? HMPH. Taste isn't bad. No idea if Emma would even look twice at such a stick in the mud, though. Unfortunately, my luck didn't hold and a new problem cropped up. Every time we needed pairs, I hit a wall. The comedian had become the veteran's little shadow, glued to him and impossible to peel off. I didn't want to team with Robert mostly because he'd inevitably turn it into a competition, and I'd end up humiliated. And I didn't dare drift too close to Emma, for fear of overturning someone's vinegar jar and getting splashed. In the end, I realized I only had one option left. The trending starlet Susan. She'd wanted to pair with Emma, but Emma whispered something to her, and she came trotting over to me instead. Cue the scene. We were assigned to light the stove. She didn't know the first thing about it, and I knew even less. We squatted in front of the firebox, staring at the wood like it would light itself. I may not have cooked a pig, but I've seen them run. I rolled up my sleeves, grabbed a handful of straw, lit it, and stuffed it in. A billow of smoke blasted out. We both hacked and teared up, faces smudged black, and then, seeing each other, we cracked up and collapsed. Then I looked up and there was Robert, arms crossed in the kitchen doorway, staring at us with a stormy face. I flinched again. Why? Won't this ghost go away? As I silently fumed, Susan tugged my sleeve. Mootage. I think it went out again. I braced myself. It's fine. I'll try again. I refused to believe I can't get a fire going. Then I started poking around even more blindly. Robert finally couldn't watch anymore and cut in, cool as ice. I'll do it. He shouldered me aside without ceremony, dropped to one knee, cleaned the firebox, stacked the wood, kindled, blew in one smooth sequence. The dead fire sprang up into a dancing blaze. Susan's eyes turned starry. Oh, Teacher Barron, you're amazing me, dead. Inside. What else outdone by my nemesis again? After the fire incident, the internet started shipping me with Susan. Cute. Susan for moody, rude. You're the ones with no brains, I'm the brain one. To reclaim my honor and wash away the shame, I volunteered to cook in the group meal segment. I'd studied abroad for a year to avoid eating bland food. I trained myself into a pretty solid cook. I tied on an apron and went for my signature. Stir-fried chili pork, oil smoking hot sizzled ginger and garlic and fragrance bloomed at once. Chili's next, tossed till blistered, then in with the sliced pork for a quick, hot stir-fry. My movements were fluid, almost chef-like. The others glanced over in surprise, a couple even swallowed, not so subtly. Good. Exactly the effect I wanted. Smug, feeling my brain persona returning, I slipped Dan out. It came. Hubby, pass the salt. The kitchen and the entire live room fell silent. My mind went boom. One thought remained. I'm dead. I slipped. Damn that scummy system and its random kitchen PDA tasks. It's trained my muscle memory. What now? How do I fix this? Sure enough, after the hush, the barrage exploded. Is there something wrong with my ears? Hubby, Moody is gay. Who's he calling Hubba Robert? No way. Aren't they sworn enemies? Enemies to spouses? Or is this a new script? Cold sweat poured down my back. Think. Idiot, how do we spin this, right? There's a staffer named Hobby, isn't there? I was about to steer Hubby toward Mr. Hobby when Robert, quietly prepping beside me, lifted the salt cellar, as casual as anything, and set it into my palm. He didn't scowl or sneer the way I'd imagined. Instead, his brows softened, his eyes curved, and he said in a tone so doting it could rot teeth, "Here you go, wifey." Me, Robert, have you lost your damn mind? That is not the script for sworn enemies in daylight. The barrage spiraled into collective doubt. Holy, did I hear that right? No way. Has to be scripted, right? Probably. Who comes out on a live stream like that? TSK. The production will do anything for ratings. Not gonna lie, I'm curious where this is going. Kid, don't get curious. I didn't know where to go from here either. What I hadn't expected was, things got even more alarming. Seeing me frozen stiff, Robert chuckled under his breath, slid an arm around my waist as if it were the most natural thing in the world, took the spatula to stir the pan, then leaned in close to my ear. With a playful, almost coaxing intimacy, he murmured, "I gave you the salt. Where's my reward kiss?" The chat lost its mind. No way, it's too natural. That's not acting. Sworn enemies. These are clearly honeymooners. Wait, let me sort this out. So they're a couple, and all that bickering was a bit. Well, mouths spar by day, bodies spar by night. Sharp-tongued movie. King Times feisty idol kinda tasty. I'm writing fic tonight. Thank you, author. You deserve a temple offering. Moody. Kiss already give the writers some material. In the next second, the screen was a wall of kiss, 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 kiss your head. We're both very straight. Not some pair of dogs who'll kiss live on camera. But I had no graceful way out of this. Following my prime directive, when in doubt, play dead, I shut my eyes, stiffened my neck, and fainted into Robert's arms. Peace descended at once, as if, amidst a chorus of gasps, Robert scooped me up in a bridal carry with insulting ease. Brother Moody's low blood sugar is acting up. I'll take him downstairs. To rest, me. The corpse. Excuse me, who gave you permission to call me Brother Moody? Holding me. He carried me through the bustling kitchen and courtyard and straight into a bedroom. He laid me on the bed, closed the door, turned the lock, and switched off every piece of recording equipment. Only then did he stand at the bedside, looking at me with leisurely amusement. Still out, he asked with a smile, "Need mouth to mouth?" Me. I snapped my eyes open, sprang upright, and hissed under my breath, furious. "Robert, what the hell are you doing? We agreed we'd stay enemies in public. You asked for a kiss on camera and carried me. How am I supposed to face people now?" The teasing curve faded from his lips, but his gaze deepened. He took half a step closer, expression intent. "Moody, I don't think of you as an enemy." Sensing he was about to say something irretrievable, my heart lurched. I cut him off fast. "I get it. It's the system, right? You're being forced to. I understand. Don't worry, we're both straight. I won't take it the wrong way. And you don't need to overthink it. We'll chalk it up to variety effect for the viewers." Robert held my eyes. After a few seconds of silence, he nodded. "All right, understood." He straightened, putting a careful, slightly ambiguous distance between us. "If you're fine. Teacher Clark, I'll head out, Teacher Clark." The title made my skin prickle. It wasn't that he'd never said it before, but it used to come laced with sarcasm and gunpowder. This was the first time it sounded politely distant. I hesitated, watching him turn and leave. The door clicked softly shut. From that day on, the one avoiding me was Robert. Teacher Clark became the only way he addressed me. On set, he always stood as far from me as possible, even when the rules required interaction. His touch was a brief, perfunctory brush, polite as a robot. The gaze that used to find me and linger didn't pause on me anymore. If our eyes met by chance, he looked away, cool and quick. Sometimes when I spoke to him, he deftly broadened it into a group topic and eased into talking with someone else. When questions involved me, his answers were precise and impersonal, like he was evaluating a colleague he didn't know. Flawless, watertight. Gradually, the media and fans bought it. The earlier chemistry was merely variety annex. His initial cooperation had been professionalism. The clean boundary afterward was his real stance. Everyone forgot the incident. Everyone but me, restless, jittery, in a constant low-grade panic. I even started missing our sharp-tongued sparring. At least then I existed in his eyes. Not erased, a stranger that didn't matter. What drove me up the wall most had the system died. It used to behave like a starved pervert. issuing daily tasks designed to make hearts race and faces burn, forcing intimacy between me and Robert in ever new ways. But after the hubby fiasco, it was like the thing crashed. Silent, the first taskless night, I felt off. The second, I paced my room. By now I was an ant on a hot walk. No tasks meant the last legitimate excuse to touch had snapped. Worse, Robert and Emma seemed closer by the day. I kept catching them in blind spots of the cameras, speaking softly. Robert's eyes crinkled with a smile. My chest was a knocked-over spice rack, bitter, sour, salty, numb, all bubbling up. Dinner one night, I couldn't take it anymore. Robert sat beside Emma again. Mid-meal she picked up greens and set them in his bowl. "Teacher Barron, these are good, try some." Robert has a cleanliness streak and hates vegetables. He only paused, didn't refuse, said, very gently, "Thank you." I stared into my rice. It tasted like paste. My stomach felt stuffed with a vinegar-soaked sponge, sour and swollen. I shoveled down the last bite, set my chopsticks aside. "I'm full, enjoy." I gathered my bowl and beat a retreat. Thankfully, the crew had enough footage and had shut down all cameras for the night. I wandered alone to the pond. The night breeze was cool, but it couldn't disperse the heaviness. The moon rippled silver in the water. Something hollow and prickling sat inside my chest. Odd. I'd been angry enough to jump up and down because of Robert before, but I'd never felt like this. I don't know how long I stood there before I heard quiet footsteps behind me. I didn't turn, but I felt someone stop at my side. A moment later, a warm bottle of milk, my usual brand, appeared in my field of view. "From the directors," Robert said, voice flat. I took it, dazed. Before I could speak, he turned to leave. Watching his back, a panic rose, raw, unreasonable. The words burst out of me, "Robert." He stopped but didn't turn. I clenched the milk so hard it crinkled, and lied with a voice that trembled. "The system, it sent a task. It needs you to kiss me for a minute." Heat flooded my face. My heart thumped so hard it hurt. Pathetic, hoping he'd kiss me like before, worse. Hoping that afterward we could go back to what we had. Robert turned without a word and came to stand before me. Moonlight carved his features in cool lines. His face showed nothing. No questions. No hesitation. He simply took out his phone, set a 1-minute timer, then bent and touched his mouth to mine, a textbook procedural kiss. No extra contact. Even his breathing was light, almost absent. When the timer chimed, he stepped back at once, clean and decisive. I stayed frozen. My lips still held the ghost of his warmth, but my chest felt scooped out and full of cold wind. Whatever little expectancy or shy sweetness I'd nursed shattered and chilled in the face of his businesslike manner. So, if Robert didn't want to, even a kiss could be as distant as a transaction. Alongside the ache, a terrible thought reared up. His system had always been the most active. Now it was quiet. Maybe it wasn't that there were no tasks. Maybe he'd rather take the shocks than touch me. Shame and sourness urged. I couldn't help blurting, "Robert, we're partners. If your system really has tasks, tell me. I'll cooperate. You don't have to." He cut me off. "There is no system." I stared, blank. "What?" Robert pressed his lips together. "Sorry. I lied before. I've never had a system." He never had a system. So all those nights, those embraces, those kisses, that breath-warm closeness were all. Maybe because I was close to the truth, my voice shook. "Why?" Robert looked at me quietly. A long time, long enough I thought he wouldn't answer. Then he sighed and said softly, "Because I used to like you." The world stopped. The frogs by the pond, the dogs barking in the distance all vanish. Only that sentence boomed in my ears, over and over. "I used to like you." Used to. The tide of joy hadn't even risen before those two words shoved it under. I asked, careful. "And now?" Robert didn't answer. He asked me instead, "Does now matter?" I stood there, dumbstruck, with no idea what to say. He didn't press me. He smiled like something had unknotted, turned and disappeared into the dark. I lingered by the pond a while longer before dragging my heavy feet back. As I stepped into the courtyard, I saw Robert and Emma tucked in a corner, whispering. Emma's face was bright with excitement. Robert was grinning ear to ear. The breath caught in my throat. "Damn it. You say you used to like me, but I've never seen you smile that happily in front of me. Stupid, hateful man." After fuming, the sadness came. Maybe he really had liked me. But my slowness, my dodge and deny, the countless times I declared myself straight, one by one they broke his heart. So he decided to let go completely, to get away from me. "No, I won't allow it. If you've loved, you don't quit halfway. He's only cold for the moment," I told myself. "I'll catch up and warm him back up." I clenched my fist and swore in silence. I am going to win Robert back thoroughly. Just when I was racking my brains for a decent pretext, heaven smiled on me. The rickety wooden bed in my room collapsed, hugging my pillow. I pitifully knocked on Robert's door. Teacher Barron, my bed broke. Could I, maybe squeeze in with you tonight? The corner of Robert's mouth twitched, but his expression turned awkward, as if he were searching for a reason to refuse. At that moment, the veteran actor passed by and kindly offered me a step down. Moody, my bed's big. Come sleep with me. I was about to decline when the comedian jumped in first, flustered. Mr. Barron, enough is enough. There's a limit to fishing for a wife, know when to reel in. You're ruining my chances to court me. Robert, the veteran actor blinked, shot the comedian a glare, and walked off with ears flush red. But the comedian had no intention of letting Robert off. He kept ranting. And you, Muda, just going already. What are you being polite for? If you so much as step into anyone else's room tonight, he'll be hanging from that door by morning. For once, Robert's composure cracked. The tips of his ears went crimson. He practically ground out, "Shut up." Then he yanked me into the room and shut the door with a sharp click. We were alone in the bedroom. Robert and I stood face to face, staring. He still hadn't recovered from the humiliation and fluster outside. His chest rose and fell, and the palm clutching my wrist was hot. Behind his forced calm, his eyes held embarrassment, annoyance, and the helplessness of having his secret blown. Looking at him like that, my heartbeat finally caught up thundering. The brain that his barrage of revelations had stunned into white noise began to function again. At fishing for a wife, I tipped my head back to look at him, my voice dry with nerves. What does that mean? His grip on my wrist tightened. He glanced aside, helpless. Just the literal meaning. I put it together. So, you deliberately avoided me and deliberately interacted with Emma all to hook me. I didn't deliberately interact with Emma. She's my strategist. Thinking of how cold he'd been by the pond, and of how wretched I felt. These days, grievance flared into anger. I raised a fist to thump him only to be caught and reeled close. He looked down at me. The pretense had dropped from his gaze. There was tenderness there, resignation, and the faint satisfaction of a plan that had worked. If I hadn't, would you have admitted your feelings like you are now demanded answers? Worried over me, even, his eyes slid to the pillow. In my arms, pointed, schemed to end up in my bed. My bed really did break. I protested, cheeks burning and not very convincingly, did it? Robert's lips hooked, plainly skeptical. How timely. Robert, I sputtered, face hot. He leaned in the bear's fraction, one brow lifting. His face was right there. My heart hammered against my ribs. But remembering just how convincing his performance had been these days, I couldn't help indicting him. You went afar. He lowered his head until our noses brushed. He admitted, voice low, indulgent, and coaxing. I did. Our breath mingled. He asked again, so, wifey, will you bite the hook? Looking into the careful hope and depth in his eyes. The last kink of awkwardness and sourness inside me melted into silk. I crooked a finger at him, beckoning him closer. Robert obeyed, dipping his head. I leaned to his heated ear and breathed. Let me tell you a secret. Tonight at the pond, there was never a task. His eyes lit at once. So, I kissed him first. The system was fake. Wanting to kiss you was real. After the show wrapped, Robert posted on Weibo. Not sworn enemies faded. At Moody, I followed immediately. Ready? I'm going to love you with full effort. At Robert, hot searches exploded as expected. Robert and Moody go public, shot to the top with the blazing icon. And the cascade that followed nearly crashed the servers. Emma and Susan. Brave in love, slowed down life, confirmed as a dating show. Baron Clark Cannon, no more. Delulu crumbs, we feast. The internet was howling. Good Lord. Is this show the matchmaker's annual retreat? Everyone's coupled up. Petition to rename it. Let's fall in love. Director. I swear I was filming Pastoral Life. Do you believe me? Doge CP fans put Robert under a microscope and dug up everything. The care beneath his snark. In our enemy era, the glee under the chill. The comments were full of I'm deceased. I sprawled on the downtown apartment sofa, shoveling chips and scrolling, laughing so hard I nearly slid off. Look here, sharp mouth. Honest body is getting roasted again. Robert steadied me by the waist so I wouldn't fall, then dropped a kiss on my forehead. Voice rich with indulgence. As long as I got my wife, they can laugh all they like. Seeing our relationship stable, the matchmaking system took the hint and unbound itself. Recently, I've discovered something else. Robert is a vintage, aged to perfection jealousy jar. One afternoon, we curled up on the sofa to watch an old movie. The room was dusky, The screen's light and shadow brushed his profile. I watched. His long lashes and those eyes that stayed bright even in the dark. Felt a tug in my chest. Leaned over to kiss him and sighed. I really love your eyes. They're like stars. He stiffened and answered with a faint I figured he was tired, shifted to a comfier position, and thought nothing of it. That night, fresh from the shower, I found him propped against the headboard with a book held upside down, distracted, clearly. What's wrong? Really that tired? I toweled my hair as I walked over. He set the book down and looked up at me, expression complicated. After a few beats of silence, he braced himself and asked, "Do you like me because of my eyes?" I blinked. Hut, he pressed his lips together, reluctant. Annie's eyes are like stars, too. I was still lost. Hut, in your love letter you wrote it like that. Your eyes are like stars, lighting up my dull high school days. Every time I see you smile, my heart feels like it's soaking in soda glug glug, bubbling with joy. I stared a long moment before it clicked, the love letter I'd written in high school. Oh, come on, Robert. I flopped onto him, pinching his cheeks. That was 100 years ago, and I copied it off the internet. I forgot ages ago. How do you remember it so clearly, He dropped his gaze, voice a little muffled. Very clearly. A thought struck me unlikely, but it still needled. So you stole my crush because you liked her. I didn't like her, and I didn't steal your crush. He denied it instantly. I narrowed my eyes, digging for the root. Then why did she stop talking to me and start hanging around you? He looked a bit helpless. I told her I liked you. She said she'd help with ideas. Didn't help. I stood there, melting into a puddle. I couldn't help asking, if you like me, why did you copy me at everything, pick fights, and try to one-up me? I huffed, accusatory. You're a copycat. Robert laughed at that. He reached out and pulled me into his arms, kissed my forehead. Moody, I wasn't copying you. I was too young to know how to get your attention. I watched what you liked and tried it, thinking that if I did a little better in your world, maybe you'd look my way. You raced four-wheelers, I bought a better one, hoping if I beat you, you'd talk to me, maybe borrow my car. You played basketball. I practiced like mad, hoping to end up on the court with you. You became an idol. I thought maybe if I stood somewhere higher, I could stand closer to you. His arm tightened around my waist, he sighed. I wasn't copying you. I was just trying to get close. In the clumsiest way, I lay against him, listening to the steady beat of his heart, my nose stinging. All those years I'd read provocation and rivalry into his actions, they were really just awkward, stubborn offerings. Robert, I muttered, you were such an idiot back then. He laughed low, chest vibrating, Pretty idiotic. Luckily, you're willing to love me. Softness pulled in my chest. I couldn't help saying his name. Robert, I leaned up and kissed him. I love you. He went very still. Say it again. His voice was wrecked, chest rising and falling hard. His breath in my ear was hot and shaking. I looped my arms around his neck, nudged my nose against his, and looked him in the eye, clear and steady. Robert, I love you. His gaze darkened. He bent and sealed my breath with a kiss, gentle and yet lingering. When it ended, he rested his forehead against mine, voice low and velvety. Moody, I love you too. Every day from now on, I'll love you more. I closed my eyes, unable to stop the smile curling my lips. The night was still long. Our story had only just begun.